A sunny afternoon in Beverly Hills, where luxury is the norm and every corner seems to glimmer with wealth and high fashion. Now imagine stepping into one of the fanciest boutiques in town, the kind of place where even the air feels expensive. Crystal chandeliers sparkle overhead, and racks are lined with designer dresses worth more than most people's rent. Customers here are a mix of celebrities, millionaires, and, well, those pretending to be. Then, the door chime rings, and someone steps in. A woman wearing a wrinkled hoodie, ripped jeans, and scuffed up sneakers. She's got a baseball cap pulled low, covering most of her face. You'd think she just wandered in by accident, right? But here's the thing, she doesn't look lost. She walks in with quiet confidence, casually scanning the racks like she belongs there as much as anyone else. And that's when the story takes a turn. You see, this boutique has a certain standard. And David, one of the salespeople, takes that standard very seriously. Tall, sharp dressed, and oh so confident, David prides himself on spotting high value customers. He's not impressed by the hoodie clad woman, not one bit. Can I help you? He asks, with just enough of a smirk to make it clear he doesn't think she belongs here. And what does she say? A polite, yes, I'm looking for something special. David raises an eyebrow, scanning her outfit like it's some sort of punchline. He gestures vaguely toward the back. The sales section is over there, he says, barely hiding his disdain. Now let me ask you this. What would you do if you were in her shoes? Would you walk out? Push back? Or maybe, just maybe, play along? This is where things get interesting. Because what happens next will make you question everything about appearances, assumptions, and respect. So tell me, do you think David is about to get a reality check he'll never forget? Or will he double down on his arrogance? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because trust me, this is a story you don't want to miss. All right, so here's where things really start heating up. The woman in the hoodie, you know, the one David just sent to the sales section, she doesn't argue. No attitude, no eye roll. She just gives him this little smile, like she's in on some secret he hasn't figured out yet. And then, instead of heading to the clearance rack, she strolls straight to the main display. This is the part where David starts to lose his cool. See, he's watching her scan through the store's latest collection, the kind of designer dresses that cost more than his monthly salary. His jaw tightens as she pulls a sleek black gown off the rack, a limited edition piece, mind you, and holds it up to inspect. David can't help himself. He strides over, his polished shoes clicking against the marble floor, and leans in just a little too close. You know, he says, his tone dripping with condescension, that's from the newest collection. It's not discounted. The woman doesn't flinch. She looks up at him, calm as can be, and says, I know. I'd like to try it on. Now, if you could have seen David's face at that moment, priceless. He blinks, like he's trying to process what he just heard, and for a second, he looks like he's about to say no. But then he remembers he's at work and reluctantly grabs the dress. This way, he mutters, leading her to the fitting rooms. Meanwhile, a few other sales associates and even some customers are starting to notice what's going on. One whispers to a coworker, doesn't she look kind of familiar? Another customer, who clearly knows her pop culture, leans in and says, I swear, she looks like Taylor Swift. But no way, right? In the fitting room, the woman tries on the dress and steps out for a better look in the mirror. The gown fits her perfectly, elegant, stunning, and totally at odds with her casual demeanor. A small crowd begins to form, whispering and speculating. But David? Oh, David's still stuck in his own bubble of arrogance. You know, he says, smirking, that dress might be a bit ambitious for someone like you. The woman tilts her head as if considering his words, then replies, ambitious? No, I think it's just right. At this point, you can feel the tension in the air. David's coworkers are exchanging uneasy glances, and one of them, clearly more observant than David, whispers, that is Taylor Swift. I'm telling you. But David's not listening. He's too busy imagining the moment when her credit card gets declined at the register. Now let me ask you, what do you think is going through her mind right now? Is she annoyed? Amused? Or maybe, just maybe, she's got a plan to turn this entire situation on its head. Stick around because the moment of truth is coming, and trust me, you don't want to miss it. All right, here we go. The moment of truth. The woman walks up to the register, holding that stunning black gown and a pair of designer heels in her arms. David follows close behind, a smug look plastered on his face. He's practically counting the seconds until her card gets declined. Will that be all for you? David asks, his voice dripping with false politeness. Yes, she replies calmly, handing over a sleek black credit card. David takes it with a little too much flair, glancing at the card like he's searching for a reason to doubt her. He slides it into the reader, and for a brief moment, the room seems to hold its breath. Beep. Approved. David's smirk falters. He blinks at the screen, as if it's betrayed him, and hands the card back with a forced smile. Uh, Everything's good, he says, clearly thrown off. But it's not over yet. As he starts packing up her items, another employee rushes over, wide-eyed and a little breathless. Excuse me, Miss Swift, the employee blurts out. I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to say I'm a huge fan. The room falls silent. Every head turns toward the woman. David freezes, his hands still clutching the shopping bag. His eyes dart to her face, and for the first time, he really looks at her. She pulls off her baseball cap, and there it is. Taylor Swift in all her understated, unbothered glory. The whispers start immediately. I knew it, someone says. It's really her. Another customer pulls out their phone, trying to snap a photo without being too obvious. David's face turns a deep shade of red. I had no idea, he stammers. Miss Swift, I'm so sorry if I... Taylor holds up a hand, silencing him with a calm but firm expression. It's okay, she says, her voice steady. I didn't come here to be recognized. I came here to shop, just like anyone else. David looks like he wants to disappear into the floor. I didn't mean to. Taylor cuts him off, her tone still polite but unmistakably pointed. David, let me ask you something. If I wasn't Taylor Swift, if I really was just someone in a hoodie and sneakers, would it make me any less deserving of respect? David stammers, unable to find an answer. That's what I thought, Taylor says, her gaze softening just slightly. She picks up the shopping bag, turns to the other employees, and adds, Thank you for your help today. I really appreciate it. As she walks toward the door, she pauses, glancing back at David one last time. Next time, remember, you don't always know who you're talking to, but you should always know how to treat them. And with that, she's gone. The store is silent for a moment, and then the whispers and murmurs erupt. I can't believe she was here. She handled that so well. But David? He's standing there, holding on to that lesson as tightly as he held onto his pride just a few minutes earlier. And for the first time, he realizes it's time to change. So, what do you think? Did Taylor handle that like the queen she is, or what? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And remember, never judge a book by its cover. All right, let's talk about what happened after Taylor Swift walked out of that store. The place was buzzing. Customers were whispering, employees were exchanging glances. And David? Well, David was still standing there, frozen in place, replaying every word Taylor said in his mind. The store manager, who had been watching the entire interaction from a distance, finally stepped forward. David, she said, her tone sharp but controlled, can I speak with you in my office? David nodded, his face pale. He followed her through the elegant showroom, each step feeling heavier than the last. Once inside the manager's office, she didn't waste time. Do you have any idea what just happened? She asked, her arms crossed. David stammered. I didn't realize it was Taylor Swift. I swear. If I had known. The manager cut him off. That's exactly the problem, David. It shouldn't matter if she was Taylor Swift or anyone else. This store prides itself on treating every customer with respect, and you failed to do that. Not only did you embarrass yourself, but you also risked our reputation. Do you have any idea how this could have gone if she wasn't as gracious as she was? David hung his head. He didn't have an excuse. The manager sighed, softening slightly. I'm not firing you, David, but I am putting you on probation, and you'll be attending a mandatory training session on customer service. Consider this your wake-up call. David nodded. Grateful for the second chance, but fully aware that he had a long way to go to earn back the trust of his colleagues and himself. A few days later, David found himself reflecting on what happened. The scene replayed in his mind over and over. Taylor's calm demeanor, her sharp yet kind words, and the way she handled everything with grace. He decided to write her a letter. Dear Miss Swift, I owe you an apology. Not just for how I treated you that day, but for what my actions represent. I judged you based on your appearance and failed to give you the respect you deserve, not as a celebrity, but as a person. Your words stuck with me, and I want you to know I'm working to be better. Thank you for the lesson you taught me, even when I didn't deserve it. He never knew if the letter reached her, but that wasn't the point. For the first time, David realized the power of humility and kindness. Meanwhile, the store experienced a surge in customers. Word had spread about Taylor Swift's visit, but more importantly, about the way she handled herself. People admired her grace and the message she left behind. And for everyone who heard the story, one thing was clear. It wasn't just about Taylor Swift being a celebrity. It was about the universal truth she reminded everyone of, that respect and kindness should never depend on who you think someone is. So, what do you think? Have you ever judged someone too quickly and been proven wrong? Share your stories below. I'd love to hear them. And remember, the next time you meet someone new, treat them with the respect they deserve. You never know who they might turn out to be.